Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmaduel.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Today, I want to discuss another deck that I've used also to get into the gold ranking within the with the PvP World Championship qualifiers. This deck has been pretty solid. It's got it's got a nice little surprise feature to it, and it involves trying to get control of your opponent's monsters and just trying to capitalize on things, but also packing a punch in the fusion capacity if you have the right pieces. So, just to go through this deck here, first I run 2 copies of Gale Lizard because I was fortunate enough to get 2 copies of it. It's the level 4 reptile flip effect monster with 1400 attack, 700 defense, and its flip effect is target one monster your opponent controls and return that target to the hand. Now this is a pretty quick way to get some power plays going to really empty your opponent's side of the field and then take one of your stronger monsters and just kind of have at it, see if you could deplete the life points. Next I run 2 copies of Chaos Command Magician, the level 6 spellcaster with 2400 attack and 1900 defense. You negate the effect of a monster card that targets this one card. Now the reason that I run this card is because it only requires 1 tribute, and you'll see why I'm trying to go for more monsters that require only 1 tribute. And the reason is the next card here, which is Jowls of Dark Demise. Level 2 Fiend Flip monster with 200 attack, 100 defense. Its flip effect is take control of one monster on your opponent's side of the field until the end of the turn that this card's effect is activated. When the controlled monster attacks, it can attack your opponent's life points directly. So that's the really good part about this, and having a 1 tribute monster that you could use to either take over your opponent's monster that you just controlled or just use it to go over your Jowls of Dark Demise after its effect is activated really allows you multiple ways to do it. So if you're taking control of a really strong monster that your opponent has, you may not want to necessarily tribute over that card because you could pretty much end the game there since it can attack directly. So it really just depends on the situation that you're in. But you can see the basic strategy that we're going for here. The next card that I have here is to add a little bit of that fusion punch. I run 2 copies of Death Kangaroo, which is a level 4 beast, 1500 attack, 1700 defense. If the attack of a monster that attacks this monster is lower than the defense of this card, destroy the attacking monster, and damage calculation is applied normally. Then I run 2 copies of the Earth Hex-Sealed Fusion, level 3 rock, 1000 attack, 1600 defense. You get this one at the card trader. Its effect is you can substitute this card for any one fusion material monster, but the other fusion material monster must be correct. You contribute fusion material monsters on the field, including this face-up card. Special summon 1 corresponding Earth Fusion monster from your extra deck. Now this comes into play because you at least want to have a copy of Master of Oz, which is just an absolute beast. It's the, I can't even count here, 3, 6, I think it's level 9 fusion monster. Beast Koala and Death Kangaroo are the 2 fusion materials. It's got 4200 attack and 3700 defense. So if you're able to utilize utilize those monsters, take advantage of the effect that Hex Sealed Fusion allows you to do, and really get your Master of Oz out there, my goodness, you could do some serious damage real fast. The next card as well that I just like to run 1 copy of is Yomi Ship, level 3. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, destroy the monster that destroyed this card. It's got an 800 attack, 1400 defense. I don't know, it's just an all-around good card to try and start clearing out your opponent's monsters if you're in a pinch. So as far as other cards are concerned, I run 2 copies of Double Summon, where you can conduct 2 normal summons or sets this turn, not just 1. I run a copy of Enemy Controller. I was fortunate enough to get one. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and change that target's battle position, or you contribute 1 monster, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of that target until the end phase. The next card that I also run is a Macheezer. The activate only when a monster is sent from the field to your graveyard. Select and destroy 1 monster on the field. And so it's pretty self-explanatory. Then I also run a copy of Wild Tornado, where you select 1 face-up card in the spell and trap card zones and destroy it. The controller of the destroyed card can then send 1 or can set one spell or trap card from their hand, and if this set card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, select and destroy one face-up card on the field. The next trap card that I have in here is key for this deck. It's a Faint Plan. It's just a normal trap card that you can pull, and it's nothing rare, nothing fancy about it, but what it does is a player cannot attack face-down monsters during this turn. I run 3 copies of this because you want to buy some time. You want to buy yourself a turn, keep your cards face down, and then not activate their flip effects until it's your turn, rather than having to activate them during your opponent's turn. So another way, as a stall tactic, I also run a copy of Windstorm of Itaqua, if I'm saying that right. You change the battle positions of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. So if they got all their attack monsters out there, activate this trap. It's the one that you can unlock through leveling up your My Valentine. So it's an excellent card as well, but you can see why I want to buy time here. Because, say, for example, you have Jowls of Dark Demise in defense, it's not going to stand up to any attacks. It's only got a 100 defense, and it's kind of counterintuitive for it to activate its effect during your opponent's turn. It really doesn't do a whole lot for you. So by having Jowls of Dark Demise out there and using a Faint Plan to make sure that nobody attacks it, then the next turn you take control of one of your opponent's monsters and hopefully use a card like Chaos Command Magician or even a Summoned Skull or something like that only requires 1 tribute, and do what you need to do with that strategy. In a best case scenario, you'd possibly have your Death Kangaroo out there and your Hex Sealed Fusion. You could either use your double summon or something along those lines, or even buy yourself a turn using a Faint Plan and then make that fusion happen. So there's more than one way for this type of deck to burn your opponent. You can make big plays real fast, and it could get cluttered a lot of times and just kind of fall apart. There's been plenty of times where I've had just terrible hands and really not a whole lot I could do about it, which is why the skill that I like to run is Restart. Right now I have that ability with the Paradox Brothers, so that's why I'm sticking with Paradox Brothers right now for this deck, because you open your hand, you see something you don't really like, you at least get one more shot to open with a decent hand. So Restart is a good one. I think there's a chance that you can pull that skill out of a drop somewhere if you're going up against another legendary duelist. So Bandit Keith also has that as well, so I guess you could run it with whoever has the Restart skill. There's also a way you could also run this deck with Balance. That could also work out pretty well too. But I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up. I've been playing around with it using Balance and also playing around using Restart as the skill. It's really up to your preference, what you prefer. But either way, this deck has treated me pretty well so far. It's got me into the gold ranking. Not much further than that. This is not the kind of deck that will get you up to platinum level or a deck that will get you up to King of Games. This is very far from it, but it's still a really fun deck to play because it can really frustrate your opponent by taking control of their monsters. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If there's anything that you want to add to this type of deck, or if there's something similar that you're running that maybe is a lot more effective than the deck that I just discussed today, feel free to reach out on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk, and love to mention it in an upcoming episode, and we'll go from there. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.